What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the October 19, 2020 edition of Raw Talk. Of course, we open the show with R-Truth, Charlie Caruso, per usual. They talk about R-Truth being chased, as the 24/7 champion. The draft may have changed some stuff, but it did not change the crap surrounding the 24/7 championship. Who the hell could possibly care at this point about the 24/7 championship? We saw it on Raw this week being chased. Truth was being chased by Drew Gulak, the Lucha House Party. I'm sure they're thrilled about being moved to Raw, about being involved in the 24/7 title mix again. Akira Tozawa was out there. Just fucking move on. Just put it to rest and move the hell on, please. They discussed the ending to Raw with Randy Orton and Drew, where the show just randomly ended. And what I don't understand, they went off the air with Drew and Randy ready to fight. All right, they were looking ready. It's not like they just had a face-off. They were ready to go at it. Drew broke into the cell. They were ready to go at it. Raw Talk goes on the air immediately after Raw. There was no sign of Randy or Drew in the ring, which made absolutely no sense to me. Did the cameras just go off and they're like, okay, that's it. Let's go. Let's go to the back now. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was weird. They discussed Asuka and Lana and how they thought Lana looked impressive, which, whatever, she didn't really. It was like a 2-minute match. They recapped The Fiend's appearance on Raw and the stuff with Retribution, the Firefly Funhouse, just a lot of the recap bullshit. Like, again, you can always skip over the first 5 minutes of the show because they always recap stuff we either just saw on Raw or add no additional insight to what we just saw on Raw as well. So a lot of the recap stuff is completely pointless. They do welcome on their first guest, Jeff Hardy. He calls the Hell in a Cell terrifying. He actually had the chance to compete inside Hell in a Cell, which was a career-long goal of his 2 years ago when he faced Randy Orton, actually, and he lost. But he doesn't have that opportunity this year, and he's glad about that. But he said he was set up at the car accident that Elias blamed Hardy on, which it was clearly Sheamus. I know Elias won't buy that immediately because they're both heels. But it's like, I thought this was cleared up. Was it not? I guess it wasn't. But, I mean, if it was really Jeff Hardy, wouldn't Jeff Hardy have gone to prison for that? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But at least they're trying to, tie up the loose ends in the feud and kind of, tying it back to something that happened in May, which they did with the hacker stuff. So I appreciate long-term storytelling to a certain degree, even though it's not picture perfect, but whatever. Hardy officially accepted Elias' challenge for a match at Hell in a Cell. I already thought it was official. I guess not. They made a big deal. Oh, it's official. It's official. It's fucking Jeff Hardy and Elias. That's her fourth match on the card. The only non-Hell in a Cell matches of right now. Whatever. He went on record in saying here that he wants a battle of the bands between himself and Elias, which was interesting. And I joked about not really wanting to see that after the feud started last week. But honestly, it might be interesting because of all the years that Jeff Hardy spent in WWE, originally for over 10 years, now being back for a few years, he has never done his music stuff, I don't think, on Raw. I think Fozzy may have done it once or twice, and they've used their music before. Jeff Hardy, they've never used his music. They've never let him sing. They've never let him use his own entrance music like he did in TNA. So honestly, I don't know if I would hate that. I don't know if that'd be the worst idea. So maybe at some point we will get that. They praise Nancy Drew for some reason as they go off the air here, or as they kind of close down with Jeff Hardy, which was strange. The next guest was Nikki Cross, who we have not seen in over a month. I think the last time we saw Nikki Cross was like 5 or 6 weeks ago. She wasn't at Clash of Champions. She got drafted to Raw, but we haven't seen her on Raw since then. This was her first appearance of any kind in WWE TV, programming, whatever, since well before Clash of Champions. I don't think she was even on the go-home show for that pay-per-view. So this is the first time we've seen her in a while. She said she's ready to be on Raw, excited to be on Raw. She is scared, though, about what's going on now with Alexa Bliss. And we've heard her say the same stuff about Alexa now for like 2 or 3 months. It's time to move on. I feel like we heard the same stuff from her on Talking Smack. They got to do something about it. Because she was like, oh, she's perfectly fine. I got to give her the benefit of the doubt, blah, blah, blah. But then, like, I don't know. They got to have her confront Alexa or just do the feud already, because this whole thing with Nikki Cross, like, I'm so torn on my friend. Either you do something about it or you move on. It's so random. She just asks Alexa to let her in. That's what she says. She calls Alexa her rock for the last year. She says as much as she would love to be a 3-time tag team champion with Alexa, she also really wants to be the Raw Women's Champion, and brings up how she has never faced Asuka one-on-one on Raw before. Probably not on SmackDown either. And it's pretty cool because, you know, she's right. They had a great feud in NXT, which they don't bring up here. But that's kind of what she's alluding to and what she says about how they haven't had a one-on-one match on Raw before, but because they've had a number of one-on-one matches in NXT before. That great last woman standing match 3 years ago on the show. So anyway, she says that, you know, she closes off her segment here by saying that she's ready for Asuka. They then welcome on one final time for Miz and Morrison, their final guest, Miz and John Morrison. And they blame R-Truth for their loss on Raw, as Miz and Morrison faced El Grande Gordo, a.k.a. Otis, and Tucker, Heavy Machinery, essentially. R-Truth got involved, didn't really get involved, but he ran in the ring distracting Miz during the whole 24/7 title bullshit shit. So they blame the loss on him. Miz asks Charlie, do you think Otis is a world title worthy competitor? Because, yeah, he's Mr. Money in the Bank, but do you see him becoming world champion? And again, she tries to play it straight by saying, oh, I'm a journalist, I can't be biased, but she's biased all the fucking time on the show. When she criticizes people's actions, like, she criticizes the heels, but God forbid she criticizes Otis. You know what I mean? Like, I think Miz makes a great point here. But Charlie says, oh, no, he earned the briefcase. And Miz was like, yeah, because it fell in his hand. That was the only way that he won the match back in May, which is right. The only reason he won that match was because the briefcase slipped through AJ and, what was it, Aleister Black or something? I think. One of their fingertips, and it landed in Otis's hands. That was the only reason why he won. Miz says, listen, he's not the guy. I was. I won Money in the Bank before I went on to Evolve, defeat John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, become WWE Champion. That's not Otis. That's not who he is. Truth was trying to make some point about some research that he did, and he holds up a July 2013 edition of the WWE magazine as his source material, which I thought was hilarious. And I actually own that magazine. I collected the magazine for years on end, and I still have a lot of my issues. I kept all the issues, and it ended in 2014. But I remember the cover because I have that magazine, which is funny. Anyway, so Miz says, he kind of goes off on a shoot promo here when he says that he's waiting for the next top star to rise up. And he gets really intense, and I love this fire from Miz. None of the goofy stuff that we see on Raw and SmackDown usually from him and Morrison. He was, pretty straightforward here when he said, I'm waiting for the next guy to rise up, rise to the occasion here on Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, WWE, whatever. And he questions how hungry these newer stars actually are. He doesn't say Otis is hungry. I mean, literally maybe, but not figuratively. And the rest of the roster, he's questioning them. So he vows to win Money in the Bank when this whole lawsuit is settled, which is so dumb. But when it's settled, he vows to win Money in the Bank and cash it in on Drew McIntyre to become a two-time WWE champion. And that was basically the note they ended off on here. I love the Miz stuff, the Nikki Cross stuff. Again, I feel like we've heard that a million times before. I want to see her and Asuka at some point. The tease was nice. But the Alexa Bliss bullshit, I like what Alexa's doing with The Fiend. But the whole tease about Nikki and Alexa, they got to move on from it, or they got to do something new, because I feel like she's been this whole happy-go-lucky bullshit she's been doing this happy-go-lucky bullshit for a while now. They got to move forward with it. And then the Jeff Hardy stuff was fine. They set Elias and Hardy set in stone for the pay-per-view on Sunday, which you probably already knew that. And we only have 4 matches right now on tap for Hell in a Cell. A lot like last year when we only had 2 or 3 matches set in stone until literally hours before the pay-per-view. People thinking, oh, it's going to be a shorter show because they have 4 matches. You're out of your fucking mind. This is WWE. They don't do 4-match cards. We haven't had a 4-match card on a pay-per-view in decades. Decades. Maybe 5 matches. Definitely not 4. Even if they are, 3 of them are Hell in a Cell, which is ridiculous. They're going to add 5 or 6 more matches. Don't get it twisted. They're going to add at least 4 to 5 more matches in the next couple days. I mean, I could see a Street Profits title defense, but I'm talking about the last-minute, meaningless matches that have no business being on the card. That's probably what they're going to add on Sunday, which is whatever. So a decent episode of not Talking Smack, Raw Talk. The Miz stuff was the best stuff. Hardy was fine. Nikki Cross, the return of Nikki Cross was notable, but her actual appearance was kind of forgettable. So check it out right now on the WWE Network. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. And check out all my other Raw Talk reviews right here in the channel in the description box down below in the playlist entitled Raw Talk Reviews. Have a great one, guys. Be sure to hit that bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.